Hope building. Research has showed that hope actually changes the brain chemistry. It's really a mental thing. So we need to stop expecting little of our students. The teacher beliefs and assumptions play a really big part in the outcome of our students' lives. So under theory and research here, hopelessness can have the consequence of learned helplessness. So learned helplessness really does come from not having hope. It's not genetic. Hopelessness is learned. And the students that are really struggling with not having hope are more likely to drop out of school or become pregnant in their teens. So how can we instill hope and optimism? Because hope really can turn these students' lives around when they break out of that cycle. This quote from Jensen: "When educators believe students are competent, students tend to perform better. Conversely, when educators believe students have deficits, students tend to perform more poorly." And a study done in 2001 found that 49% of these teachers that were surveyed considered higher order thinking inappropriate for low achieving students. Inappropriate. So this is really a self-fulfilling prophecy. When a teacher thinks that the student can't achieve higher order thinking, then they won't. And a study was actually done at an elementary school where researchers selected 20% of students. This wasn't based on test scores. They had tested the students, but randomly across the board, they selected 20%. They told the teachers that these students were showing unusual potential for growth and could be expected to bloom by the end of the year. So the researchers returned at the end of the year, tested the students, and found that there was an actual change in these students' performance. And they did not perform a test based on the negative aspects of this, where they would tell teachers that these students are kind of behind, they're struggling. They didn't want that to impact the students' learning. But based on the research that they did do on the positive effects, we could probably draw the conclusion that the negative mindset would work the same way. So some action steps for hope building. Implement a hopelessness quiz. Inventory your students and staff. So ask students questions like, how likely do you think you are to succeed in school and graduate? When you think of where you'll be in 10 to 20 years, what comes to mind? And ask your staff questions like, do you use affirmations and celebrate learning milestones? Do you have a positive attitude in the classroom? Questions such as those. And then use these assessments to determine maybe different ways to take action with your students. Implement 24/7 hope. So research by Martin Seligman suggests that hopefulness actually can be taught. So use daily affirmations, provide needed resources in your classroom like a calculator or pens or pencils, paper, and treat all students as they have the potential to be gifted. So you're treating them all the same way, and you're treating them all as not just average, but as gifted. And then monitor the results of these things. So this question survey, the hopelessness quiz that I just spoke about, administer that 2 times a year, and kind of decide how students are doing as far as that goes. Look for students who volunteer. When students are volunteering, that really shows optimism. And then ask staff to keep track of random acts of kindness. When students are, and staff also, are being kind and going out of their way to help other people, that's really showing progress with hope building. And then I wanted to leave you with this quote for this section from Jensen. "For students living in poverty, hope is not a frivolous luxury, but an absolute necessity."